to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 21st day of June. We are officially in summer now, by the way, folks. I don't know if I mentioned that the other day. Actually, the other day I had a dentist appointment, so it went in pretty late. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage there. Got a great show with you for tonight. We have not discussed the Celtics. Remember, the Celtics won the championship on Monday, and the Mad New Yorker comes on Thursday or Friday. Going to go over that with him. Going to ask him about the J.J. Redick. Yes, it's official now. He is the head coach of the Lakers, and see what he thinks about the Mets. A little bit of a run they went on. Bill Belichick's got a girlfriend, 24 years old. I talked about that the other day with Keith Engel. Also, Pistons fire Monty Williams. He's got like $80 million. The teams know him. And the NFL quarterback cap. That's been discussed around the league, putting a cap on the quarterbacks' salaries because it's going out of this world. Maybe we'll get to that, maybe not. But anyways, let's take our first and only break. We'll be back here 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. Now we're back here live. Hey, Mad New Yorker, good to see you, man.
What up? Happy Friday.
Friday at last.
No, it is hot in New York, man. It is hot
Really?
in New York. I mean,
It's hot down here. I heard it was really hot in the Northeast the last 2 days.
Bro, it's not just the Yankees and the Mets right now, bro. It is hot. It is.
I hear you, brother.
Hot, bro. Oh
I hope you're staying hydrated and keeping the kids hydrated.
Hydrated, my man. We are in front of air conditioners and we got a bunch of water bottles and everything going on. Well,
I think I'm on my 5th bottle of water today, and so these are 24 ounces. So do the math on that. Well, last time I spoke to you, we did not have a champion. Celtics, they get that proverbial, what do you call it, monkey off their back.
Yeah,
they are the champions. They had the parade today.
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on Celtics pulling this thing off?
I think Boston did a great job choosing today for a parade. It's the first day of summer. It's the hottest day of the year. And, if you were a Boston fan, congratulations. Hope you had fun. If you're a Boston fan and you're upset because you couldn't go out there because it was too hot, I'm sorry for you. I mean, but it's just, man, congratulations to them. We spoke about this. We were expecting Boston to win.
Yes. If
Tatum and Brown played to their potential, right? We said that.
They got everything. And Brown's got the MVP and deserves so.
Right. So, to which I say, and we discussed and we mentioned that the even if they were going to be rated as a top winning championship team, and I said that I wouldn't even place them over the Detroit Pistons of the 02, 04. I'm sorry, 04.
Jeffrey Deskovic, he said the same thing you did.
Yeah, so it's like
he was my guest on Tuesday's program. I was like, wow, I'll tell Mel New Yorker, y'all think alike.
Yeah, and I heard that, and I was like, look at here, like no, because you know what it is that you still have. I'm not taking nothing away from them. They played a very defensive-minded game. They did great to subdue Luka, to score, to keep him scoring at minimum, and then, one of the best. I feel like, and I don't like to say this much about him, but I feel like he's one of the best point guards in closing the games. And they locked him down to an average of 10 points a game.
Luka?
No, not Luka, for Kyrie. But then you also have to look at his age. Maybe maybe him getting a little bit tired, did that affect him? Because remember I mentioned, like he's gonna score. He's gonna have at least one game where he scores 40, 50 points, right? Like and
game 4, I think.
He had one game where he scored about 30 points. So
the crowd really got in his head, I thought, in Boston. It seemed to really bother him.
He's such a basketball-minded player in the sense of him.
I'm not sure what you're going to say there.
Trying to get things done when he has a ball in his hand, right? Like, he's not going to waste time shooting, trying to look for a shot, or he's not going to waste time trying to look for a pass. He's going to, he already knows what he's going to do a few steps ahead. That's just the type of player he is, and it wasn't an option for him, right? The Boston Celtics played great defense. They didn't give him an opportunity to think 2 or 3 steps ahead, and Luka couldn't make any lob passes. Lively didn't do that well, so it was great defense, a great job by the coach. You said you didn't know if he was any good or not.
Well, I think the people that were brought in by the team really helped him. Jeff Van Gundy being one of those people.
Van Gundy, Cassell, so that whole leadership team, everybody did a good job. It's not going to be the same group next year as far as coaching staff and leadership, but they won it this year. That's what counts. That's what matters, and kudos to them. I didn't think it was going to, I thought it was going to.
Think they can repeat? Now they've got the players coming back, including 38, 39-year-old Al Horford.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, if he comes back, fine. He comes back.
He said claims he's going to.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis is going to come back to him. He didn't. He played maybe a total of 20 games. I mean,
well, I know he only played like 2 or 3. I want to say in the playoffs.
Right. So it's like
finals.
I'll come back fine. I mean. I'm expecting for it to be a different kind of season next year, and people are already saying that Boston can have an opportunity to repeat, and I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but hey, again, the 2 players that we spoke about stepped up, and they made the game different for the Mavs, and they won a championship, and kudos to them because they're getting paid like they should, right? Like nobody.
Tatum, I don't see why they wouldn't pay him the $349. It's a lot easier to swallow that number after you got that ring.
How about this? How many games has Tatum missed in his career, and why wouldn't you pay him that?
And I can't recall him really missing any.
He's had several injuries, but nothing crazy to put him out for 2, 3, 4 years.
No, I mean he's not AD or.
Right.
Durant or anybody like that. I mean, I think if you look at Tatum and Brown, take LeBron out, what 2 players that are currently in the NBA have played in as many playoff games as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? And I don't think there's many, if any.
No, there isn't many. And then you'd have to go back to like the Kobe, Shaq, Kobe.
Yeah, these guys have really,
Paul Gasol, Kobe. Like you'd have to go back to like back to where they had 2 or 3 tandem player teams. Listen, I mean, it's I think what it is and what we're seeing and how we're trying to appreciate the game because it's different. It's a different game. It's a different mindset, and it's stat based, right? There's a lot of.
Pickle says Clay and Curry. That's probably it.
Yeah,
that's a good call. That's probably the only tandem.
Yeah, but Pickles.
And then again, those guys have been put out in the first round. They may have caught Clay and Curry. Now think about it.
Yeah, and
these guys were 21, 22 years old playing in the Eastern Conference Final. Now LeBron beat them, of course, but I'm going back to a few years now.
Yeah, and how much defense did both of them play? Like They're not known for that. That's not.
Well, I know Tatum is a really good.
I'm talking about Clay and Curry. I'm talking about like.
Oh yeah. Clay was decent before his injury.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I think he tore his was it 2019? He's hasn't been the same ever since.
Yeah, but how many times has he been all defensive NBA team?
Now Clay's a pretty good. Now I don't think
he's ever been.
Curry's good knocking the ball loose, but like actually defending the player, that's a big knock on Curry.
Right, exactly.
He can't defend.
It's not that he can't. He's not. He's
just not very good.
Right. He gets caught up in a lot of the picks in the zones, and he gets caught. But I mean, that's not a detriment to his game at all, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, he's made 5-time All-Star. I mean, but he's not that guy now. He's not been that guy since his injury 3-4 years ago. So,
right.
But still, I mean, Clay, it's real impressive what Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum had done. I was just thinking they were going to be the Atlanta Braves before '95 and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and we talked about that, right? We mentioned that, like, what are they going to?
We were still kind of speculating they may blow this thing this time last week because they've blown so many leads in the past.
And they did good. They did good for
I'm
themselves.
proud of them for getting over the hump, even though people want to put somewhat. I mean, Jeffrey don't think they're a great team. He wants to put a little asterisk by it. I want to get the racer out and race that asterisk because they played Dallas so strong, because Dallas is playing great coming in, man.
Yeah, like
you don't put an asterisk by this, do you?
I just don't rank them as high. I think that's fair, right?
But no asterisk.
Yeah, no asterisk.
Okay.
Don't rank them that high, but you got to give these two guys the respect. Now you got that they're. I mean,
you look at them in a different light today,
right? Because now they're champions,
right?
Right, because now they're champions. So, and that's gonna help them when they need to reset that team, because they're not gonna keep that same team forever.
Well,
right?
I think they'll keep Derek White another year, and I think they got a good chance to run it back, especially if they can keep Cassell. At least could see Cassell. It just can't be Mazzulla and a bunch of other inexperienced guys.
I don't think the GM is gonna let that happen. So
yeah,
he's a pretty smart guy. So
yeah, he's not that. Well, he's done a great job.
Yeah,
him and Danny Ainge there.
Yeah, because Danny Ainge was part of the. I think he was even part of Brown coming to the Celtics before he left.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I know he's part of the team.
No, that was all Ainge did. Now he's made. I'm forgetting the general manager's name now.
He's a coach,
Butler coach.
Yeah,
was the coach, and then he made GM. But he's made a lot of good moves. He brought Derek White in.
Mm-hmm.
He brought Drew Holiday, Porzingis. Made the move to get rid of Marcus Smart. That was a very questionable move. Brad Stevens, excuse me. Dexter there. Yeah. Questionable move this time last year. And because he had been there a year longer, I want to say, than Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go back on what I said because I'm not a big fan of Porzingis. Like we talked about his game. He doesn't attack the basket enough. He came back, had that one great game one. He didn't.
Yeah, they looked unstoppable that night.
That night, I was like, wow, and he wowed me, but he ain't gonna wow you for 60 plus.
Well, he went back to being Porzingis, the guy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't.
It struck midnight, Carlos.
I'm not gonna take back what I'm saying because I feel like next year, if he's on the squad or probably be on the squad, don't hold your breath if you won't see him about maybe 20 games. You know what I'm saying? Because
right.
He's just injury prone, and that's just the way it is. And he's not going to crash the boards, and he's not that number 5-4.
That's
guy.
The only thing they need is like a bench big,
right? And they're gonna if they keep Horford, like I feel like if they make it to the playoffs, they're just gonna be like struggling and just kind of getting slowly there because they need depth. man, and they got age and Horford is holding them back.
Yeah,
and
he just turned. He'll be 38 if he'll be 39 if he plays this time next year.
and then you have Porzingis coming
June
back,
3rd. Yeah,
and he's we don't know if he could stay healthy. So those are already two pieces. I feel like maybe Brad Stevens moves them, or maybe forces Horford to retire. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Well, JJ Redick, we've been contemplating that name for 2 weeks.
You've been on it, bro. My man, Mr. Sports Club, he's been on. He said that is LeBron James' best friend, and he's more likely.
That's our podcast buddy, man. I got to bring in Carlos if I get that head coaching job.
Come on down. You speak about this. What do you think?
Colin Cowherd called them Club Chaos when Jenny's brother was running the Lakers. And now, they've had 7 coaches in 14 years. If it wasn't for what would we say about the Lakers if they didn't win in the bubble championship? They would be Club Chaos on steroids. It's crazy. I'm surprised that they've had the success they've had with all the crazy stuff they've done, like bringing in Westbrook, knowing that was going to be a disaster. Darvin Ham, never heard of Darvin Ham. I actually bought into Darvin Ham because they played a little defense under the guy, and he talked that Anthony Davis into being healthy. Maybe Darvin Ham needs to help out with Porzingis, right? So then you bring in LeBron's podcast partner who stood up to Kendrick Perkins. I don't think LeBron cares for. And now JJ Redick is he was the second choice. They wanted Dan Hurley. They flirted with him. And then they said, no, we're going to go after this better looking chick. And then she turns him down. And then he says, you know what? It's still a pretty good date here. I'll go ahead and go out with the LA Lakers and hang out with my podcast friend. But maybe he'll turn into a decent coach, man. But I always like to get a guy that's got some assistant experience, no?
I think chaos is the best way to say it. They got themselves a scapegoat for sure, right?
Cowherd's been listening to Sports Scope here lately. He's coming around to my way of thinking. A lot of these guys in these big shows watch my show. I just can't see it now, but in the past, I've known they watch my shows, and then they say it on the bigger platform. They say my opinions.
I don't want to be doubtful. It's just the Lakers set themselves up very nice. They don't have to pay JJ like top money because he has very little.
They're paying him like $25 an hour, man.
Yeah, so. So they don't the pay grade there. Because they wouldn't have been able to afford Hurley if they really wanted to get him. Even they offered him that much money, I don't think they would have been able to.
Did you hear? He's like, they should have offered me more. Maybe I would have took it. They offered him like $12 million. I'm thinking, you're trying to get this guy to leave Connecticut for 12. How about 17 to 20?
It's a championship.
He's like, I'm staying in Connecticut, man.
Yeah, it's
for like 10.
So there's that thing about his pay. We don't know what kind of group his coaching crew is going to be like.
Yeah.
This is the thing is like you're opening it up to be a scapegoat because what happens is like you're inexperienced, so you're gonna have to bring in some kind of experienced type coaches in with you. And then what happens is that the leadership team is looking and the management team's looking at you like, okay, you brought in some experienced coaches, and if something bad happens, we got a good interim there. You know what I'm saying? So you're actually putting a target on your back. But then you got the players. If the players give up on you, that's be another issue because you've never dealt with this situation. But to be honest and to be fair and to give him a fair shake, man, because you have to. He's a coach now. Everybody needs to start somewhere. And everybody needs to put in their foot, and if they step in it, they got to smell it. And that's part of growing and becoming a professional coach. Whether you start off as an assistant or whether you start off as a regular like interim coach or a regular coach, and some guys can handle it, and then some guys can learn to try to get better. There's this guy by Van Gundy who's speaking now. He wasn't nobody thought that he was going to be a good coach here in New York. They're all like, well, this guy, Pat Riley talks good about him, but what does he know? He's a little guy losing his hair. And he ended up being one of the best coaches New York had to bring up and follow Pat Riley and just keep that momentum going and that culture going. How he got messed up was that he started, with the Isaiah Thomas thing and all that crap with the GM. Like that's what kind of messed things up there in New York with the ownership and all that. But, so we don't ever know exactly how things are going to turn up. And JJ Redick isn't dumb. He has basketball knowledge. He could have been a great player, but nobody.
Year NBA pro, and he come from Duke. But he's only 39, and
he could have been a better NBA player. But the NBA system wasn't. They never used him right. They always wanted just to come out bench shoot threes, and he's played at Duke, man. He knows basketball, and NBA isn't the same as college basketball. It's not. And that's why I don't feel like the NBA. I don't feel like college basketball is a great place to be for a lot of players who have more knowledge, but they just need to be on the court more. You know what I'm saying? So it's I think he's gonna do okay, but it's all gonna depend on what kind of leeway he's gonna get for trying to bring in other players because he's got.
Here's who's going to have as assistants, and
and all that.
LeBron's got his back, so that's really going to help him out a bunch.
Hope LeBron plays up to his potential for his age, and AD plays up to his potential for his age, and then bring in two more players that you can kind of, form a better unit there and see what the Lakers can do. I'm just so surprised to hear that the Lakers have issues financially to nail down some of these.
$8 million, and they were offering Dan Hurley 12. I'm surprised they offered him $8 million.
I mean,
I'm making sure it wasn't $800,000. Yeah, it's $8 million. 4-year deal, $8 million, $32 million, and I'm sure he won't finish that 4 years.
This could be.
History says he'll probably coach about 2 years.
He got like a 30-40% chance of making it to the 4 years, something like that, like something low.
Yeah, they'll probably go after Trae Young.
But
I can see that.
Like I said, everybody's got to start somewhere, Robert. Had he started with being an assistant with the Spurs and then moved around
Miami or somebody,
and then just a turn with Golden State or even with the Heat, that people would have said something different. But he didn't. But he's been around so many other teams and so many other coaches that he's already got probably more experience than some of the coaches now. I mean, you got a coach who has experience, Imani Williams, who is a great college basketball player. His career was cut short with the Knicks when they drafted him for heart condition. He went into being assistant coaching, and now they're paying him $85 million to not coach.
The knock on Monty Williams, he's way too passive. And Detroit has fired him. Maybe they'll go after more of a Cassell type of guy. If I'm Monty Williams, maybe you go to college. He can do his own analyst show.
Go to like a OVC school for a year or two. They don't have to pay you.
Come down here,
Come and get some competition under your wings.
Yeah. Detroit's a bit of a mess. This really is a general manager front office league. I mean, you look at the coaches they've got around here and the lack of power and stuff that they have. You got Greg Popovich. Look out. He's a great coach, right? Well, they're dead last in everything because they don't have the players. And, of course, look at the aging Golden State Warriors get put out in the first round again. So it's Kerr's pretty good coach. Miami seems to struggle every year, starting off as an 8th seed. Mm-hmm. They've got a good coaching staff. But look at a team like Oklahoma City, right in the middle of the country, nothing to offer. Sam Presti's a butt kicker, though, man. He gets things done.
I don't understand that.
Look at Boston. They just won the championship, but they're always there the last 10 years, 12 years.
And you talking about OKC, but they just got rid of Giddey for Caruso.
Yes.
What's the upside to either of them? Like if you would have kept Giddey, he's younger, and you could
Did Caruso used to play with the Lakers?
Was he any good with the Lakers?
Hey, he was an energy guy. They hated to lose Caruso. Let me look at that real quick. Yeah, that deal was done today.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I didn't.
I was kind of, because you know what happens is that
Make sure I don't have my guys. I may have my guys mixed up here. Yeah, he played with the Lakers. He sure did.
He did. He did.
Yeah, this guy's a spark plug. I like him better than Giddey.
How old is he? How old is Caruso?
He's 30, man.
I thought he was at least 34.
He's a man. He's 30.
I'm 40. I'm a man. No, but you know, and I'm not trying to downplay Caruso as an NBA player. But what I'm seeing is this, and this is my perception. You have a young team in OKC. They're all, you saw how they were, you know, you saw that they had potential. And now you're going to take one of those pieces out, right? For what? For an older guy.
Giddey was one of the players that had an allegation against him.
Still, like,
minor.
He has an allegation, but
he's not really been that consistent. He's not like Holmgren or SGA.
But here's
who's that other guy? Williams? I can't remember that other.
He's young. They could mold him to do whatever because he's young and he plays on the Australian basketball team. So he's going to play with better players on the offseason anyway, because they play European style international ball there anyway. So he's not
something Sam Presti saw with that or that didn't fit. In Sam Presti, I trust the general manager.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't go from what the guy's maybe 20, 21 to 30. You losing so much. You even if you say Caruso's an energy guy, he's already in his prime going up towards coming down the peak. He ain't going, you're not going up and then catch his potential. You already know what you got.
SGA's 26. He's not a spring chick. He's not like 22.
What I'm
saying,
he's
still young. But the youngest cat on that team is Chet Holmgren. He's the baby. He needs to gain about 60 pounds.
Well,
so you want to mix with some vets in.
Not that team. Not that team, man. That team was.
You want a team of infants every single year.
It's what it takes, man. You can't have all these old players being injured. Like, Look at CP3. When was the last time he made an actual playoff?
Now you're talking ancient stuff.
Like, yeah, but it's just like, look. You can only have a 95 Porsche go so fast for so long.
Nichols is right. I mean, he's one of the best I've ever seen. Presti. Let's move on, man. Mets won. I know they've lost the other night. They won 7 of 8, though.
They won today.
Okay, so they've won 8 of 10. So what's up with the Mets? They look like they're playing a lot better now.
So after,
is it legit or is it just they got hot and it's nothing?
I mean, look, and I keep telling people this, the same thing. Like both New York teams have young players. They have a mix of players. And then baseball is a little bit different, I think, than basketball, because baseball is not like back and forth like basketball. So the older guys can play a little bit of catch up. They don't hurt the team as much, unless they get injured, of course. But with the Mets, there's a lot of talk here in the media that was Grimace, the purple monster from McDonald's, throwing out a pitch and causing this whole, like, it was a big uproar.
Look, change.
And it changed, but it's just
it's always some kind of superstition in baseball.
It's always somebody got to say something. And what I like that's going on for the Mets is that when they left England, they left on a win, and they came back home with a little bit of like feeling better that they got away from New York for a minute. They got to play in home games. They beat the Padres.
Whew.
Which
won. Yeah.
And then they were in a series. So it's just some of these guys, man. You just got to play ball. It's a long season. It's a marathon. These younger guys are doing good. And now with the resurgence of getting back the catcher and Francisco Alvarez, man, it's been like a big uplift, right? Because you got one of the young guys that was giving you energy, right? The energy guy, and he can smack the ball around. He's a good catcher. He can call good games. And so when things start moving forward, your energy changes.
How many players have they called up?
They've been moving
think
players
of?
around back and forth because of the injuries. They have a guy that was a former All-Star in Iglesias playing. He's been a big positive for the Mets.
Okay.
They got they had the young pitcher Scott. You know, he's also been uplifting to see somebody in a bullpen like that can throw. They called him up. He had a few starts already, so they're getting the pitchers back that they had hurt, and Kodai Senga and David Peterson. He's coming back. He pitched a great game the other day.
Do you think they'll still be sellers? The trade deadline's coming up in a couple of weeks.
So
Well, probably 3 or 4 weeks.
I think the team that they have now, they might get rid of maybe 2 or 3 players. They're definitely going to get rid of. They definitely probably will move one. And if I were the GM, I'd move one player right off the bat, and that'd probably be McNeil. He's just he's not producing like he was 2 years ago. His numbers have just been going nothing but down since they moved the rules for the shift. He's a slap hitter. He's just, he's had a couple games here and there that have been good in the last 10 games. He's played 2 or 3 games that are pretty good. He's in and out of the lineup because Iglesias, who I talked about, who they brought in, who was the EFA, who's a former White Sox. He's just been playing very good ball. What it is when you get good players to play sound and give you and keep you in the game. It's hard, man. It's hard to get those other players back into the game, right? So, and the most important thing about sports in any league is just to stay in the game to try to be consistent, right? And so, but
they're only a half game out of the second wild card. I just now checked that.
Right,
so
right. And
they can still be maybe buyers at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean they'll move. Like I said, they'll move probably 2 or 3 players around, and it's exciting because the Yankees too. I mean, the Yankees have lost a few games here and there. They've had some injuries, but the Yankees are doing well. They didn't do well against Boston, but they'll be facing each other soon.
The Braves are beating up on the Yankees right now.
Yeah.
But I was just curious about the Mets. I told you when nobody pays any attention to them, they do. I didn't think they was going to do nothing in 2000. They made the World Series with Mike Piazza.
Yeah, my pick was, and I said this. I think that they would get the last
wild card.
NL wild card.
Okay.
And I don't feel like I can change that right now. I'm not trying to be a homer fan. I like the mix of the young and the older guys because they're not that old either. So I think the average age of the team right now is 32. And then on top of that,
well, Verlander, they moved off him last year, remember?
Yeah, and I'll give you a tidbit about Verlander in a second, but
so he was the old guy on the team,
They the coaching staff and the manager right now for the Mets, they're new. Some of them are new. The manager's new, and I feel like the guys they're all starting to click together. It's the middle of the season, and you see more people coming back from injury than are going on injury, which is kind of the opposite for the Yankees right now. Like right now, you see a lot of Yankees going on in and out of injury, and it's like this is the time where you should win, 5 or 6 games. They don't have to be in a row, but if you get a 10-game stretch, try to win the 6 games, and that's not happening for the Yankees right now. So I don't know, but I think and I feel like both teams will be in the playoffs this year for sure.
Wow. It will be interesting in October.
And the tidbit about Verlander is that if Verlander doesn't make like 118 innings pitched or something, the Mets don't have to pay one of the incentives for getting Verlander from the Astros.
Oh, nice.
So right now, Verlander hasn't pitched more than 40, 45, or 50 games, and so they're not right now. If he continues to not be in games and pitching games, the Mets are less likely.
He needs to be a reliever or maybe a closer or something.
Who Verlander? Well, look, for the Mets' sake, for their finances, if Verlander can stay out of the games and not pitch in the innings, they're gonna. I think it's like $25 million, something like that.
That's kind of like the Jets. They didn't have to give up their first-round pick because Rodgers gets hurt in the first game. Let's see. There's a silver lining everywhere.
And
you got a pretty good tackle there. I think it's going to pay off in the future.
Man, every year you get tackles. Like, I'm going to do a tackle.
He's going to be the man. He's going to be the next Orlando Pace. Okay. So there's been a lot of talk in the NFL. We talked about Trevor Lawrence last week.
Yep.
About putting a salary cap on the quarterback position, kind of like in the NBA, you've got that super max,
right,
which is a certain number. The other way around, Herm Edwards brought this up about 10, 12 years ago, back when he was at ESPN the first time, before he went on and took that Arizona State job. He says, won't we just have a separate cap period for the quarterbacks because they're making so much money? Now they're saying just put a cap on their pay to kind of, help out everybody else. Do you think they should do anything about their salaries are getting crazy? $60 million is going as a cap hit. 25% of Deshaun Watson's salary is of the team's salary is going to Deshaun Watson for the Browns. What do you think about that idea, man?
First, I want to,
or any one of those ideas.
First, I want to mention this, that now, salary wise, not even the best quarterback in the NFL is in the top 5. That's how ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about Mahomes?
Yeah, Mahomes is salary wise is
he's adjusted. That's why he's got more rings in his pocket.
So I this is a problem that the owners and the agents get into all the time, and I feel like these top 5 quarterbacks probably will never be in the Super Bowl. Will never win a Super Bowl. They'll probably be in the Super Bowl, but they'll never win. Because that's usually how it works, anyways. There was a quarterback.
I mean, their PA kind of they buckle on stuff, but if they said we get the quarterbacks a separate salary that doesn't count against the cap, Jerry Jones pay a guy $100 million a year. He's crazy, He'll take it. He'll take it as far as you want to take it, just to win.
And even when they franchise tag, it's crazy because they're still giving guaranteed money to these guys. And
it's a direct cap hit when you do that.
Yeah, so it's like
it's really not that good for the franchise, if you ask me.
I just don't understand the economics of it, because even the small market teams are making the bigger splashes to keep the quarterback, because they can't, if they don't have a name to sell the team tickets, they're not gonna. It's going to be.
Well, you got revenue sharing.
Yeah, but I just don't understand why you would take that hit. I mean, do you honestly believe these 2 players who are the top 2 quarterbacks in Burrow and in Lawrence, that they're going to be Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? Do you honestly believe that?
Well, Burrow, yes. Lawrence, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Oh, by the way, I looked at Lawrence.
You're a fanboy for Burrow, though. I told you once I said this, and this the when
I'm back to maybe picking them to go back to the Super Bowl, man.
You could go to Super Bowl all day
against
long.
Detroit.
Win nothing. I said this, that once he signed that contract, that was already null and void, that he was never going to be a Super Bowl winner in Burrow.
Well, here's the way that works. Once you sign it, technically that year you could probably be okay. And maybe the next year after that. It's just when it actually kicks in, then you start to feel the wrath of that contract. For example, the Jags really worked that contract really well with Lawrence. I broke it down the other day where it goes into cap hits.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that
Cleveland. I don't know what they got. All those what do you call it? Ivy League guys running Cleveland, and they got 3 straight years of $60 million cap hit, man.
For instance,
Deshaun Watson.
The difference I know the Deshaun Watson deal was terrible, because that forced everybody to get paid, even if they didn't earn it. I don't mind the Lamar deal, because he was MVP and now he's twice over MVP. Yeah, he
went out and earned his pay,
Yeah, now he hasn't been in the Super Bowl, or he hasn't won a Super Bowl. So, okay, fine. He's been in the playoffs. So the Burrow deal, I just it's hard to imagine that the fact that Pat Mahomes is a number 9 and he's the one who's been winning Super Bowls. The other guys have just kind of been in the playoffs or just been, in the wild card. And it's like, and they're the reason why they didn't get to further. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah, it's a tough call. It's really hard to figure out. I mean.
But it just doesn't work. Eventually something's going to happen. And, you have these deals like, look what happened in New York, like for the Jets and the Giants. Jets end up getting Aaron Rodgers and that the whole deal that we just talked about. And then the Giants didn't want to pay.
That may be the worst deal in the Hall. As much as I don't like the structure of Cleveland, I like the idea of them making that splash with the owner who had to sign off. Mr. Haslam had to sign off on that. And they have been to the play. And I'm very much alone in this. They've been to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years.
But Watson
without him, I still think that they have attracted some more free agents.
Mm-hmm.
The guys they've traded for haven't want to get out, out of Cleveland. So you got to. I give them credit for no longer being the lovable losers or whatnot, the dog pound, where they've got the brown bags over their head. None of that's. I mean, they've got some pride in their organization. It may fall apart big time this year, but the idea of just making that splash, even though technically Deshaun Watson has not worked out up to this point.
Yeah, and then this whole deal for Danny Dimes, they don't even want him on the roster. I don't think now. They're all.
Oh, with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, it's like, I mean.
Yeah, I feel like that was the owner really pushing that.
Well, they want to give him an opportunity. They gave him an opportunity, and it was the same thing. Like, and I just one thing that I really end up, and we've been doing it for the last 10 years, and even when we talked about it at school, it's like, just because you make a playoff one year doesn't mean you're going to do it again the next year. And with the same team, like, what is it with the team and the ownership saying, well, we did it with this team, we could do it again? Like, what? I want to drink and smoke and have what they're having to be that, to be in that, to have that perspective and be like, yeah, we could do it.
If you look on the internet, people are putting Trevor Lawrence's numbers to Daniel Jones, which are very similar. But when Daniel Jones throws the ball, most of the time I'm holding my breath. I'm like, okay, not unless I got the defense for the other team in fantasy. But when Trevor Lawrence throws the ball, okay, somebody's probably open. And you could see he's one of the best deep ball throws in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. Daniel Jones, you don't know if he's going to throw an interception or trip over his own feet half the time. A lot of his stats were against 2 bad defenses. Right. That year they got to the playoffs with the ball. That being said, they'll probably have a fair season this year with Malik Neighbors and all that and jazz.
I think New York right now, I have both of them, both the teams, even with whatever's going on, they're not going to win more than 7 games. Both of them. Like, they're not. Aaron Rodgers can maybe win you 3 games. Maybe on a good leg.
A lot of ifs with the Jets.
And then with the Giants, it's like, who's your running back? Like, who's your O-line's got a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to fall off losing Barkley. I think Barkley will look good with Philly, but bringing Burns in at that defensive pass rush, that's really going to help them out a lot.
I'm going to repeat this again. I think it's going to be the Jets and the Giants at the number 3 and 4 spot for the draft.
Maybe they'll be able to get them get the quarterback situated, taken care of. Speaking of NFL and everything, what's your thoughts about Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old ex-cheerleader? Now, if the wife's in the room, I know you're going to give me one answer like I told Keith. And if the wife's not in the room, you'll probably give me another answer. What do you think?
If she don't mind, it don't matter. Because at the end of the day, the woman usually is the one that picks the mate.
Right.
So
and women are more mature than guys. At 24, she's really like 26 in her head, maybe 30.
She might be 45 in her head. Who cares? the thing is that what is he like? How is he dealing with it? Like, is it just like a trophy? Is it like a workout? Like, is it like that's And if it's keeping him younger, if it's making him feel better about life, then he's been through all that other stuff, right? He's been married twice over now, or
Yeah, he was dating a woman in her 50s. Now he's 72.
Yeah, so like let the guy do what he wants to. Like at the end of what, and to everybody, like what is it to you? What's your, it's none of your business. Like if you can
I know
do it,
Mark Schlereth took a shot at him. What are you thinking and all that? And I'm thinking to myself, look how hard this guy worked. He's got a look in his eye like he just grinded. He's always looking like he just got out. His hair is messed. That's how I look when I'm studying for a major test.
he got better beer face since he started being a coach in the NFL. Like he got better beer face. Like, but look, at the end of the day, we all live our lives and we all want to keep living. And if that's a piece of, if that's a piece of his life that's making him feel like he got to keep living and making him feel young, then let that be. For some people, it's a nice export car, like luxury car. Some people's buying a 10-bedroom home. For some guys, it's maybe having a 24-year-old girlfriend when you're 70 something. Like, look, at the end of the day, has he taken care of his family who he started with?
Yeah.
Is his ex-wife taking care of his
made $200 million? I think everybody's okay. His kids are coaching.
If he wants to die happy, feeling young, let him die happy, feeling. And if that's what gets him going, then that's
okay. I didn't think you would say that, but for the audience,
it's not my business, Robert. It's not my business.
I got you. No, that's what I'm saying. I think he can relate to the young players. Now that he's dating a 24-year-old, they're probably dating a 24-year-old.
That's the worst. That's the only thing meant to me that I wouldn't do something like that if I had an opportunity, because it's like you don't crap where you eat, man. You don't want to. There's always been stories about people and their, and their mates going off with players and coaches, and, so you don't want to, you don't want that to happen. And that's, she's 24. She might want to be with the 24-year-old every once in a while, so.
Well, I think he's having a good time. I think he's worked hard.
I just wouldn't bring him around. I wouldn't bring her around.
Plus years, and now he's got all this money. He's thinking, wait a minute, I need to enjoy life a little bit, He's going to be doing the Manning cast this year in the fall. And like I was joking with Keith the other day, I could hear Peyton say, Peyton, I feel 50 years younger today.
Look, I mean,
so what's going on in the personal life, Coach? Peyton Manning voice,
I'll say this, and I don't want to sound like a hypocrite or nothing, man. Having a partner, being with another woman of any age, man, it takes time. It takes a lot of being open-mindedness, and it takes to be wanting to sacrifice and willing to sacrifice. And those things are important. And if you can't do that because of the job you have, because you're making a lot of money, or you can't do that because of problems that you have in the past are costing you money, then it's something that you can't do. But if this guy is 74 years old and this is something that he's chosen,
he's 72. Let's
72. That's something that he chose to do, even if he's still in the business and do whatever. That's something that he chose to do. And it's not that he's coming from two perfect marriage. He's had more than one marriage. So to have one marriage, it's already a difficult situation to always manage for a lot of men who are in the coaching business in a lot of sports. Yeah. Now, take that situation, being married, and look at all the entrepreneurs, men who are like, they have that A mentality and,
type A personality, you mean?
Yeah, A personality. Like Steve Jobs, divorced. This guy for Amazon, divorced. Like all these guys have prior partners, man. It's not being married is not a simple life choice. But as you older you get and things happen, you make choices, and if it's not our business, it's something personal for them and they want to do it, let them
would you think that would affect his next job next year?
I think it affects how, because this is a media thing, this is about like branding and stuff. I think it's how people will have a perception and how they view him. So if I'm like he's working with CBS or ESPN.
No, well, he's doing the Manning thing. That's it. But
ABC,
ESPN, and
ESPN, Disney, ABC. So I'm sure that they're gonna like try to push the Manning brothers more because they have a cleaner look. and then be like, and Bill Belichick, right? So they'll have ways to maneuver his image around and try to help, try to sugarcoat stuff.
I don't think it's going to be like Bobby Petrino, but then again, if he starts riding a motorcycle, then it could be full Bobby Petrino.
I mean,
I think he's just having a good time,
Listen, we all have different.
Then again, sometimes you think you know somebody, and sometimes you don't. But I kind of got a feeling that's what Bobby Petrino was: a liar, just con artist.
I mean, I've seen on
I'm not sure about Belichick.
I've seen on the Today Show where women who are 101 years old want to jump out of an airplane, or 98 or something want to jump out of.
Oh, really?
And stuff like I've seen that kind of stuff. They're older than 91, jump out of an airplane. Like nobody's saying nothing to them about anything about their life choices. I just think we should just.
It's never a big deal if it's an older woman and a younger guy. If it's Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, but if it's the other way around. But us guys, I'm okay with what Al Pacino and Robert De Niro's doing with these younger girls.
If it so happens that this woman takes him for what he's got, can't nobody turn around and say like, "Well, we told you that was going to happen," right? Right? If she takes
him 70 every shot, your last. It says. Well, I know, Pickles. You should have heard me and Keith Engel. I said, yeah, Keith's going to have one type of answer because the wife's in the room. Another type is like, hey, man.
No, I mean,
he just laughing though. He thought that was funny. I'm surprised Schlereth did, but me being a single guy, I was telling Keith, I said, man, I was thinking about asking this 23-year-old out at work. I don't feel so bad if I throw on Bill Belichick.
Robert,
at least I'm not 72.
How about this, Robert? Is it how different is it that Tiger Woods had 20 some odd women friends?
That's true.
Of all ages, and then this Belichick has one woman friend who's 25.
And he did technically break up with the other lady.
Yeah. So like why are we at
least he's not. Now, if he was married, that's a different situation.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not our business, man.
Well, no, if he's married, then that's kind of scumbaggish stuff,
Isn't it Deshaun Watson right now playing a quarterback for the NFL?
Well, he wasn't married.
He still did some.
Yeah, he's got the 20-something allegations. I think he may have had a sex problem. That's a totally different situation. These two met off an airplane. They met on a flight back in 3 years ago, and she wanted to get his autograph, and they seemed to hit it off pretty good. Yada, yada, yada. And then I don't know how they reconcile. That's New York Post and TMZ's trying to figure that out.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. I hear it in the media up here in the Northeast, and it's like, yo, just leave.
Well, they're going to be on it. Yeah, just
leave the old man alone. Like, let him. He's done. He done what he had to do. Like, let's just say this. We live in terrible times right now when Justin Timberlake is breaking news. Like.
I think it was a slow news, but yeah, he got a DUI the other day. It was in New York, wasn't it, City?
Yeah, it was in Sag Harbor in New York and Long Island. But listen, before we go and before we cut out, speaking of New York, icon in New York and baseball, big ups to Willie Mays, man.
93, right?
Yeah, praise to his family, to people who've known him, Barry Bonds, those guys.
May have been the best center fielder of all time. I don't know.
He might not have been like the player for the Mets the longest. He did play on the Mets. The one thing though is he is New York baseball. Like, he played for the Giants here in New York, and he is like an icon here in New York City for New York City baseball. He's done a lot for New York City baseball, and it's just a really sad time for the city. And we pay respects to him. And I like that they baseball MLB is doing a little stuff, few little things there sprinkling in for him, and I appreciate, as a baseball fan and a fan of New York baseball, I appreciate that. So
I've never seen anybody catch a ball like he did in the 51 World Series. That's like a football catch.
Right.
It's hard. You got to have some really good vision and concentration to make that kind of catch that he made in that 19 51 World Series that we've all seen. That's our iconic over-the-shoulder catch. Speaking of baseball, make sure folks and tune in. My guy Kavarius Tears, University of Tennessee player,
Yes, weekend.
in the World Series. I think is it tomorrow?
Saturday, right? Yes.
Yeah, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern against Texas A&M. He's a right fielder, but he also plays center field. I've interviewed him. Great mom, great family, great coach. What is it? Tony Vitello, I think, is the manager there. What do you think about that? How about that, huh?
How about that, Rocky Top, man? Let me say something. For years, Bobby, I've been saying that UT baseball has had a great program. Remember, I tried to invite you.
You have been saying that.
We've the UT Vols have had like even a Roger Clemens winner in Luke Hochover back in the day.
Todd Helton went to Tennessee.
That
was 25 years ago.
Yeah,
but
that was before. That was a little bit before I got there. But then they've had some players there, and it's good for now that they have a huge group in depth, and it's been awesome to see them. It's been a few close games, but they just sticking and grinding it out, and it's baseball at its top competition level, and it's if you want to see some great baseball, watch the series. College baseball is awesome. It's a little bit faster and they got the metal bats and everything. So you hear that.
They kill me with those metal bats, dude.
Crazy though.
Get the wooden bats. I worry about these young men.
Yeah, but
because that ball comes off there a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's fun. I sometimes wish that there were the more MLB big games were like that. Sometimes, even minor league games. But it is what it is. And if you don't have anything to watch this weekend, which also the same week, you got the Copa America, you have the Euro.
That's a big tournament. People have been talking about that.
I'm going. I got tickets.
Is that they're going to have one of the games in New York?
So they have some of the games here at MetLife Stadium.
Who's playing? Who are you going to see?
I'm going to see Uruguay play Bolivia with my cousin. We're going over there and we're going to catch that. And also I'm working on trying to get involved with the World Cup to be.
And that's next in 26.
26 years. So I'm trying to do things, man. I'm just,
Yeah. I need, something I wasn't telling nobody. I was thinking out loud. I need to give me a soccer. You've been giving me soccer updates for the last couple of years. I appreciate it. I really need like a UFC guy to come on during the summer. UFC, they've got a lot of good fights come on during the summer pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, they got fights.
That's something that's all food for thought.
Yeah.
But
man, that's when we were coming up, that people were scared to see those fights. People were like, nah.
Well, it's been such regulated now. It's cleaner, and I'm starting to get a little hold of it, but not really.
Yeah, the blood's a little bit cleaner, and
well, they got gloves on, and
the broken bones ain't as
But it used to be super barbaric when it first started.
No, I think
now it's just regulated violence, and it's more tactical. It's not bad,
Yeah, I think also we become desensitized a lot.
We grew up on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so, finish him. Yeah, so
yeah. Double false face. So go Vols here on the College World Series. You got to win 2 out of the 3. So we'll see. I mean, I hope they don't blow it. Their pitching has picked up, and they've had the best bats in America over this whole season. That's why they were the number one. That's why they were the number 1 seed coming in, and they would be the first since like 2009 to win the World Series as a true number 1 overall seed.
Yeah.
So
it's fun, man, and big respects to University of Tennessee. Good, that's good.
Yeah.
They have a lot of great athletes in different sports, and it's just good to see baseball.
Vanderbilt's been the big king in baseball. It's good to see Tennessee kind of get back. This is their first World Series since 1951.
Right.
Speaking of Willie Mays, I mentioned that World Series that he caught that famous catch in 51. So appreciate you coming on. We're in the last minute. I feel like share the show, and Carlos, hope to see you next week. Maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. Depends on how things shake out, brother.
Yeah, man. And probably be Thursday if we can.
Okay. I hope to be Thursday. I hope I don't have to deal with the Dennis for a while. For another 6 months at
Well,
least.
enjoy all your games this weekend, guys, and be safe.
All right, man. You too, buddy. Thanks again.